If you were a Jew living in 13th century Europe with a taxing question about your religion, the man you asked was Salomon ben Adret, the Rabbi of Barcelona. During his life, he answered thousands of questions relating to the practical application of Jewish teachings. Barcelona's Museo de Historia is coming to the end of an exhibition about the man they consider to be the #1 authority on Jewish teachings during the Middle Ages. JN1 spoke to the museum's director and two of the exhibition's curators about the importance of Barcelona's master rabbi in the history of the city.
Well, we should say that in the 13th and 14th century, the Jewish community of Barcelona was really embedded in the city and in Catalonia. So Salomon ben Adret, which had strong links with the monarchy and in the city ruling and in the community ruling, was really an important person in his time, a really important person in Barcelona, in Catalonia, and also in Europe, because he really was in relationship with the Mediterranean and other countries.
From what we know, Salomon ben Adret was born in Barcelona, and his father, who was called Abraham, had started a business, to put it one way, of bankers or lenders, where he worked with his father. He worked there, and his brothers, his children, and even his grandchildren were all money lenders. And while he was working there, he also studying the book of the Talmud above all. He set up a Talmudic school, and around the year 1260, he left his job as a banker and dedicated himself to Talmudic studies at his school. It was in this way that he acquired the worldwide fame he had.
He earned his reputation from finding wise solutions to complex problems, finding an equilibrium between seemingly incompatible religious and social demands.
We have around 3,000 doubts that he resolved, which can be seen in documents. For example, one doubt is if the Jewish law comes before the law of the land, the law of the Crown of Aragon at that moment. And Rabbi Salomon ben Adret says, no, Jewish law must be followed, but when this clashes with the law of the country, the demands of the law of the country come first. Or another question, must one help women that are giving birth if they are Christian? And the rabbi answers, yes, but you must charge them. He was a very orthodox rabbi, a great student of law, and a great commentator on the Talmud, of which he would become a world authority.
Questions soon began to flood in from as far away as the Middle East, Crete and Israel, with the letters relying on an established network of Jewish travelers to arrive to the rabbi's Barcelona home.
It is true that in the Middle Ages there were always Jewish travelers and traders that were going upwards, downwards, here and there, and these were the people who delivered these cards. It depended a lot on those routes and roads and on the dangers that the Jewish people were facing in the Middle Ages.
I think that it's always important to see how problems were solved in other periods. Not to think that history is repeated, that never happens, but to see how, in the age of the 14th century, Ben Adret found good solutions to solve problems that today seem very difficult to solve, and to find an equilibrium between community, general rules and general society, between everyday life and religious principles.
What can a 13th century rabbi teach to a contemporary audience? Well, his promotion of coexistence and pragmatism remain principles that a contemporary audience to this museum can undoubtedly take away with them. This is Paul Walsh for JN1, Barcelona.